how to doodle Forky from Toy Story 4? If so, you are going to need something to draw on, something to make your drawing with, something to erase any mistakes that you might make, and a marker to outline your doodles when you are done. And then you are going to need markers, crayons, colored pencils, or paint. Add some color to your wonderful doodle. Grab all of those supplies, and let's get started. Let's get started on drawing Forky from Disney's Toy Story. So I believe it's Toy Story 4. I loved the first Toy Story. And then I kind of stopped watching them. So I probably should pick back up and get back into doodling some things that I've actually seen. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw what's kind of going to be like parentheses. So I'm going to draw one there, and I'm going to go over maybe about 1.5 inches and draw another one. They're not touching, a little bit of a gap. This is the top part of the spork. Now, I'm just going to create a bunch of wiggles here for that spork. So I'm going to go up and down with a U shape, up, down with a U shape, up, down with a U shape, and then I'm going to end. And just remember that these two parts on the outside should be a little more of a point than those ones in the middle. And then I'm going to curve around. So now I've got my two sides here. I'm going to come in just a little more now down at the bottom. Come in just a little bit because we want to be able to make the stick part to the spork. Before we do that, let's go back to his face and let's go ahead and we are going to do a circle on the left and a smaller circle on the right. So we want those eyes to be uneven. We don't want them to be the exact same. Remember, she used trash to create Sporky or Forky here. So go ahead and do another circle in the middle. And then you can go ahead and color in that first eye there. And these should just look kind of like just the little tiny plastic eyes that you'd have, googly eyes. And then above the top of his head, he has a weird noodly shape scribble here, kind of like a worm. Go ahead and add that in. I believe that's supposed to be his eyebrows. And then his mouth. I'm going to leave his mouth closed, but you could always look up a picture of Forky. I'm going to call him Sporky. Of Forky and figure out, you know, how his mouth would look open. It's probably going to be more like a bubble letter D, and you can draw it however you like, but I'm going to leave it closed. So there's Forky's head. So I'm going to come down on both sides just a little bit, and I mean a little. We are not going down very much. I just want to start the stick for the base of the fork. And then what I'm going to do is on this right side, I'm going to come down, I'm going to curve around and come back. Now I want this curve to go past where my line is here, because this is the pipe cleaner that wraps around him to create his arms. Now over here, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to come down at an angle here, and I'm going to come over just a little bit. I want to match up right there. And then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to go just a little bit up and curve around and down. And that's just to help it look like it's wrapped around the back. And then I'm going to double over to make the bottom should look the same, and the top should look like they're wrapped around. So up here, I'm going to curve around and in. That way it kind of gives that pipe cleaner the look of being wrapped around there. And now I'm going to carry down my line here. So if there's room, which I have some room, so hopefully you have a little bit of room, we can carry down our lines nice and straight, and then stop. And I'm not going all the way down the length of the fork because the spork was shoved into the chunk of clay. Now we're gonna go back up here and finish these arms. So pipe cleaner arms here. We're gonna just curve out and around a little bit, and then we're gonna double that line. So let's go ahead and double that line. Try to keep them skinny. Try to keep them similar in curve. Try not to make them too different because they are pipe cleaners. So it is going to be very much those curved lines. Now we're gonna give him fingers and kind of a normal cartoon hand. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna make a rounded shape for a thumb. And then from that inner part, I'm gonna curve down and make my first finger. And then I'm gonna add a second finger and a third finger, and I'm gonna connect back to his hand. Now that should be pretty easy. Those are just some U shapes. Next, we're gonna go over and do his other hand. So I'm going to come out and in for his first thumb. And then I'm gonna curve down for a finger, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna add 1 and 2 and kind of connect it. So he's got his 2 hands. Look at how cute he is so far. Now we need to add in that clay base here. So I'm gonna do a squiggle. So it's gonna go up and back down. And then I'm gonna go up just a little bit and kind of wiggle down with kind of the bumps of the clay. Kind of like I'm creating a triangle here. And then I'm gonna go down towards the base here, and I'm just gonna kind of scribble a little wiggle there. But then I'm gonna go up and around, up and around. I wanna be able to stick the shoe shape that came in at the bottom there. On the clay, we can add a couple extra wiggles just to kind of bring in that it's a little bumpy. It's not a nice perfect flat. I'm gonna add in his little circles here. He's got some little dots going down. Probably just the design on the fork would be my guess. And next, we're gonna give him his shoes. So I'm gonna come right over here and I'm gonna curve around and in. And then over here, I'm gonna curve around and in. And there are Sporky's little feet, which I think might just be some, what are they called? Popsicle sticks. So we're gonna give it just another small curved line there. And there is our Forky. So you can go ahead and add in a grounding line so Forky isn't floating. Look at that. Now we get to do the fun part of adding color, which shouldn't be too difficult because he doesn't have very much color because he is white. So let's go ahead and grab our markers or crayons or colored pencils or paint, and let's go ahead and add some color to Forky. Look at how cute Forky turned out. I hope that you had fun doodling with me today. If so, please like, subscribe, and share the video. And I cannot wait to see you guys again. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.